Okay, we have our one of our really exciting trips coming up. It's a little bit different look at homelessness, and it's coming up in November. And so with us to share a little bit about that trip is Scott Kemp. He's the on-site kind of trip coordinator. So Scott, why don't you kind of give us a couple minute thumbnail of what we'll be doing on this trip?
Well, first of all, one of the things to recognize is that Red Bluff is geographically in California, but culturally it's Wyoming. It's horses, cattle, ag, and it's very rural, even though it's right at the intersection of two major highways, I-5 going north and south and Route 36 east and west. But it is an area that is very rural. Population is 50,000 for the county. The city of Red Bluff has a population of about 14,000. Homelessness is really different in a rural area than it is in an urban area or even in a medium-sized town of say 50,000. And here in November, the last week of the month or the next to last week of the month, November 14th through 19th, GU is making a trip here, and the Lift event is an annual event that's been going on for about 10 years. There'll be 900 to 1,000 low-income and homeless people coming to the fairgrounds where it's been for 9 years. And every kind of service you can imagine is there, from getting a bicycle repaired, to getting a shower, to doing laundry, to getting an ID, to getting your dog neutered, to getting a meal, to getting clothes, to getting eye exams. Almost every kind of service you can think of has been arranged to be there. And as I say, 900 to 1,000 people will show up for this. The folks from GU that are coming up are going to be a huge help. They'll help ahead of time, the day or so before, getting the place set up, getting everything organized so that on that morning when the event starts, then the GU folks will be volunteering in some other ways. They'll be helping to take homeless people to specific spots. They'll act sort of as a guide. They'll be available to help out in a spot where something comes up. It's a very orderly process. There's never any difficulty, never has been. But the key thing to it is that it is one place that a person who needs a lot of services can come and get it all done there. Part of the trip, earlier than the actual Lift event itself, we'll do a tour of an area that is called Path Plaza. This is a navigation center slash homeless shelter. Navigation center is something that, again, puts every service possible in one location. And in that location, the county and the city will have drug and alcohol, job training center. They'll have counseling. They'll have every kind of service you can think of in that site. Because what happens oftentimes for people when they need help, they've got to go to this place, and then they're told they got to go to another place. Then they're told to go to a different place. So the navigation is called Navigation Center because we help them navigate the system so that they can get everything done. This Navigation Center will also host a shelter with somewhere between 60 and 80 beds. There'll be 3 meals a day. Unlike many homeless shelters, the people will be able to stay in the shelter during the day. This is not long-term housing. The intent is that people that come into this shelter will want to get out of homelessness. There'll be services there to help them do that, to begin to rebuild a life. And the hope is, well, let's call it 70 people in the room or in the building. Our hope is that we'll be able to turn it over maybe 1.5 or 2 times a year, sort of like an inventory turn, Dan. So our hope is that we'll be able to get 100 to 120 people out of homelessness every year, putting them through the navigation center. It's a low barrier center. What that means is that you don't have to be clean and sober to come in. If you're under the influence, as long as you're not disruptive or violent, there's quiet rooms where we can put folks while they recover from either the high that they're on or the alcohol that they're on. So it's a low barrier shelter. And the intent, as I say, is to get 100 to 120 people a year through that and out of homelessness. Every other year, there's a count of homelessness. The number that's usually counted the last 7 or 8 years is between 300 or 400 people, but that's under reported. There's probably another 200 to 300 that are homeless in the area. Most of them in the woods, many of them in cars, a lot of them in motels. We put up a bunch of them. I've got 5 people in motels right now that I'm paying the motel rooms to another organization that's part of the homeless advocacy group here in Red Bluff.
So Scott,
think
one
Dan.
question on the Path Plaza. How far along are they on that project?
We have the dirt. It's been donated for $2 from Louisiana Pacific, Sierra Pacific. It's the site. It's 15 acres of a site where they had mills. We have the permits in process. We hope to break ground the early part of October and to get the building. We have a metal building that'll go up. We think we can get that up before the lift event begins. So when folks come to visit, they'll get a tour of the site, such as it is, and then there'll be meetings with PATH people to explain in more detail what's going on there.
All right, great update, Scott. We're excited about this trip. If you have any questions, Tim Zoller is our trip leader. And so we're forming our team right now. We are looking into doing a couple little projects in addition. So we're pretty excited about it. Scott, thanks so much. Any final words?
You're going to have a good time. Red Bluff is a great town. It's right in the middle of everything, but it's nothing like the rest of what's around us. It's just a great place.
Thank you, Scott.